Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So, in last episode, unfortunately, we had pretty similar results to last year, as unfortunately we lost in the ALDS. This time around was to the Houston Astros, and we had a 2-0 series lead, which looked pretty good. As you can see, we won the first game 6-5, so it was a pretty close game. Second game was also pretty close, so technically in the way we didn't really have the best series, because afterwards we dropped the next 3 games and getting outplayed quite convincingly. We didn't get enough offense going, so it really sucks that we ended up losing in the first round again. I'm hoping obviously that next year we get to the ALCS or the World Series, because there's probably not a ton of time left in the series. If we're being honest, I would like to play it till like some guys start to retire in that sense, but at the same time it might not be doable because this team might start to drop off too far and we might not be able to dig ourselves out of that hole. But it really sucks that they end up beating us. I thought that they were going to be a team that could win the World Series just because of the fact that they won in the wild card. They ended up losing in the ALCS to the team that ended up losing, so they weren't even close to being the best team. But definitely they outperformed what I was expecting against us, because us being like the best team technically in that AL side of things, I thought we were going to actually be able to go far this year, but unfortunately that was not the case. The main thing, like I said, was the offense was really lackluster a little bit. Like, you had guys like Theodore Lee, who had a 368. He was good. Kevin Sato was solid with the 278, but you could see, you go into the bottom 5 guys or 6 guys in our lineup, and most of them didn't do too good. Definitely a lackluster play in the offensive side of things. And then also in terms of our pitching, we didn't really get the best results. Parker Iwamura was really terrible in the first game in the series. We still won that game, but he was not very good. Stan Nguyen was probably one of our best pitchers in the playoffs. And then Kazuhito Hayashi, who won the MVP, also won the Cy Young, had a very bad playoffs as well. So we just didn't get enough pitching that was good from actual good pitchers. So I'm hoping that obviously then the next season we get better results from these pitchers in the postseason, because if we can't get postseason pitching, then that's going to be a major problem, considering our team is kind of built around our pitching rotation and our bullpen. So we need guys to do better in the postseason if they possibly can. But anyways, let's get into your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we're going to get into the entire offseason and hopefully being able to maintain this roster for next season. So the first 2 and only comments are from Nick Bucker Barons OC. The first one says playoff time. I guess that was what he commented at the beginning of the episode when he started watching. And then his next comment is literally what he thinks afterwards, which was sadness. So yeah, it was basically a roller coaster of emotions. It looked good early on after those first 2 wins, even though they were only by like a score of 1 run that we won by. But then obviously losing 3 straight really threw us off. So it's unfortunate, but that's what has to happen, I guess, for this team to maybe be successful down the road. Now, I am a little bit worried about this offseason because of the fact that if we go to free agents or guys that are pending free agents here, let me actually see if I can find out who will be leaving the team potentially this offseason. We have a lot of guys on R&W still, which obviously we could still bring them back. We also have guys that are probably going to arbitration, like Raymond Park, who's in AAA, Walter Cho. Like, there's guys that still have arbitration, which is good, so we might be able to hold on to them a little bit longer. Guys like Theodore Lee is going to need a bigger contract as well. Same with Vincent Tan. Both those guys will be probably headed to arbitration. But you can see these are the guys that would be pending free agents. So Brian Shin's a AAA player, doesn't matter too much. But the big ones, obviously, MLB-wise, we could potentially be losing Hideki Takahashi, who has been a catcher depth type of option. He would kind of suck to lose, but he might be one of those ones that definitely leave just because he might ask for too much. Eric Yamamoto is a relief pitcher. He's also a pending free agent. I'd like to bring him back because obviously he's kind of one of our better relievers. However, we do have a lot of relievers in the system too, so maybe we can not. Actually, it looks like he goes to arbitration based on this, so we might actually be able to still bring him back for 1 more year easily. But you can see the big ones potentially. Philip Chung looks like arbitration as well. What about Sato? Oh, okay. Sato's the only one that might actually head right to the free agent market. So, yeah, Kevin Sato's the big one that I was going to mention. He's going to want a huge upgrade. He was only making $2.7 million. And over the last few years, he's been easily our best batter. As you can see, batting at 280 to 300. So, obviously, he's going to probably ask for a good chunk of money. He is 32 years old, so we got to be a little bit weary about that. But I would like to hold on to him. Because if we lose him, Basically, what we're going to have to end up doing is we're going to have to probably move Charles Nomo to our third base position, or we could move Yokoyama to our third base position. So one of those two guys gets moved to third base, and then we have to use somebody like, say, Taguchi as a second baseman, or Taguchi could play third base or something like that, but we don't really have that good of another option for the third base spot behind him. Like Robert Yabu's not somebody I really want to use in that spot. So yeah, we don't really have anybody there right away. Robert Iwamura eventually might be that type of guy because he's a good contact hitter, but obviously it's going to take a number of years still to develop him. So holding on to Kevin Sato is something obviously I'm going to prioritize this offseason, but I'm hoping it's not going to cost us too much more than what he was making before this. Alright, so without further ado, let's simulate to the offseason and see what we need to bring back in terms of coaches. Hopefully we can find a coach that could actually help us out in the playoffs more. So we need a pitching coach. And that's the only coach I think we might actually need this offseason. In terms of retired players, we didn't lose anybody. We drafted just this Oshiro guy who he was a guy I signed in to obviously lower. His name was Vines and Warren. So we only lost 3 pitchers, which is not too bad. We might not need to sign any replacement players in the free agent pool like we normally do and lower them. So that's at least good. And then in terms of also, wow, Sandy Alcantara has made the Hall of Fame. I was not thinking he would make the Hall of Fame. That's an interesting Hall of Fame inductee. Okay, so we have exclusive free agent negotiations. So these are the guys that are going to test free agency if we do not sign them back. So Kevin Sato is the big one. I'm okay with losing Hideki, I think, just because he would be technically the second catcher behind Yamazaki, if I'm not mistaken, if we move Nomo to third base, if we lost Sato. Dinner's not really that good of a catcher afterwards is the only problem. So it would be good to have a backup catcher just in case Yamazaki gets injured, but the asking price might be too much. Let me take a look at what these guys are asking for. So let's start with Hideki. What is he asking for out of curiosity? $9 million bucks. That's a lot of money. We have $57 million in budget, which is not too bad, but we have also some other guys to bring back. Sato is going to be the one that's going to cost probably an arm and leg, right? And that's not terrible. 4 years would take him until he's like 37. $13.5 million though. What if we do a front load? Actually, I don't know if I should do front loaded on this type of thing. I'm trying to think if we want to do a front loaded deal. Maybe we want to do a 3-year deal. 3-year deal would cost still like an average of 14.5 a year. Maybe we do the 4 years in. Yeah, this is going to cost us probably a good chunk for Sato, but I think he should be the priority over Takahashi. Because like I said, we don't have a ton of cap space. We have 57 million. If we sign him here for 13, we're down to already like 44 million. And if we sign Takahashi to his 9 million, we'd be down even lower. So I'm probably going to let go of Takahashi. But just because I want to make sure we get everybody else back first and foremost. Kevin Sato, like I said, he's been one of our most consistent guys. He did get injured a little bit last season, so I'm a little bit worried that he could get injured again. But coming off almost a career high in home runs, technically was on pace to have a career high in home runs. I think he deserves to be signed again for another like 3 to 4 years. So we're going to definitely hold on to him here. And $54 million. Do I want to do that? I think that's a fair deal for him. I think that's a fair deal. He's an 89 overall. He's got good contact. His power hitting against righties is good. So you know what? We're going to offer him exactly that. And hopefully he wants to come back here and join the team. I could tender a qualifying offer to Hideki, but it would be like $24 million, which is obviously way too much money to spend on one guy. So, yeah, I think I'm going to wait on Hideki. He could test free agency. We could try and go after him to start free agency again if we have the cap space, but for right now, obviously, I got to make sure I have enough money for all those guys that are going to be going to arbitration and all the other guys in the system. So we're going to leave Takahashi for now. Did we even draft Takahashi? I feel like we didn't, right? I feel like we didn't. I think he was a Rule 5 pickup, if I'm not mistaken. I honestly don't remember. I think he was a Rule 5 pickup at one point. But yeah, let's go to this and get our pitching coach, because obviously this is going to be important, especially for the playoffs. So we want to make sure we find one with not a lot of negative. +2 velocity, plus K9. We should probably go for Ryan Swan. He is also one of the youngest coaches out there, so let's give him more money, and he should want to join us because we're at a stud team pretty much. And then the rest of our staff is going to stay the same for now. And we're ready to simulate, I think, to free agency 1 already. Yeah, let's do it. And let's stop. Oh, wow. Ryan Swan decided to go to the Cardinals instead. Damn, the Cardinals are a good team too, so I understand why he went there. But we need still a pitching coach. Let's go for Manuel Brito. See if he'll accept that. He should accept it at some point, you think. And Sato is still mulling over the decision if he wants to come back or not. Regardless, if he gets to the free agent market, I'll still be trying to go after him. So I really hope that he wants to join this team again because he is the #1 third base on this team by a long shot. And like I said, if we lose him, we likely move Nomo to third base. And then we could re-sign Takahashi as the backup catcher, potentially. So that would be probably what we would plan to do. Let's stop simulating again, see if we got any accepts yet. No, we did not. Sato is still thinking about it, which means it might take him a little bit of free agent negotiation as well. There might be some other teams that actually get into the mix to try and sign him. I hope nobody else signs him, because or else I might want to restart the entire episode just because I feel like we shouldn't. Wow. Another pitching coach didn't accept our contract either. Oh, no, there's still Manuel Burrito. He's still waiting. Okay. So we'll go again. Did Mr. Sato accept yet? He did not yet. So he will be jumping into the free agent market, which is scary because now other teams will be interested in him. And currently nobody else has interest in him, which is good, but that is a little bit on the scary side of things. All right, in terms of our 40-man roster, do I want to add any of these guys to our 40-man? I don't think they're that important. Pico is decent potential, but he's only a 71 at 27. I don't think any of these guys would get claimed. I'm not too sure if there's anybody that's super important that could get claimed, so let's just double check that there's nobody important that wouldn't get claimed, because we definitely don't want to lose any good prospects here. Tom Cho, 74 at 23. As a right fielder, we do need outfielding prospects. He is actually pretty good at contact. I could add him to the 40-man. Tom Cho might be one to actually add to it, just so he doesn't get claimed. Try to see if there's anybody else that would be worth losing. Quo, like I said, he's already 27, so that probably doesn't matter too much. Tom Ann's already 26. Brian Shin's 30. That doesn't matter. Russell Yang is 32. Irabu. Yeah, I think we know that. I think the right fielder is the one I'm going to add to our 40-man. Koji Yamazaki's already 26. Jeez. I feel like I just drafted that guy not too long ago. Jeff Ishii. Yeah, most of these other guys are a little bit too old. So, I think we will go to Tom Cho, the right fielder. If I remember what overall he was. I think it was, yeah, there he is, 74. We are going to add him to our 40-man because I think he could be an MLB player almost with his contact hitting. And his discipline is actually pretty good too. His clutch is good. His vision needs to go up a little bit, but obviously I think he could be, again, that makes the majors relatively soon. Anybody else that needs to be added to our 40-man roster? Russell Lim. Really good contact hitting. But he is only a 69 at 23. But still, I do really like his contact. Is he worth adding to the 40-man roster? Yamada's too old. Wanyan Chang, probably too old at this point. Like, I feel like a lot of these guys wouldn't get claimed anyways. Sal Chen has potential. He is a 64 at 24, but he doesn't look like the best B potential player in the world, so I'm not going to add him. Akio Yamamoto's already 29. Yeah, most of these guys are pretty old at this point. DeAndre Zhu is obviously not ours. So I guess we will probably add Russell Lim as the other option just so he doesn't get claimed. We could always remove people from our 40-man roster if need be, but let's do that. Boom. And that should be good in terms of people we actually want to have on there. So now we need to get into salary arbitration while we wait for Kevin Sato. We also got tendered contracts. So salary arbitration, there is a lot of guys that need to be going to arbitration potentially this year. I think almost all these guys will go to arbitration except for maybe the top guys. So what is the arbitration offer? 1 million to 30. How much for just normal? 1.5. Yeah, we gotta just take Raymond Park to arbitration for a year. We also gotta take Walter Cho probably to arbitration. Man, Matsui and stuff like that, I don't know if they're necessary, but they might be. What is his qualifying offer? 1360. Let me go to the top guys here first, actually, and sign them, because that makes more sense. Theodore Lee's looking for 5 years at 20 million. That's actually really not that bad. That's really not that bad. 4 million a season. After what he just did last year, I like him a lot. So we will give him 20.5. So $4.1 million a season. That's actually a pretty good deal, I think. Eric Yamashita is trying to get 3.5 for the next 2 years. That's not that bad either. He actually was pretty good last year, except for in the postseason. And has been a good reliever in general. Except for 2034, of course. I'm trying to think of what we want to do here. How much more arbitration years does he have? One more year after this. You know what we're going to have for arbitration for Yamashita? Stanley Oka is also got a couple years of arbitration. He was really good last season. I mean, he didn't pick up a lot of home runs and RBIs, but the batting average is great, so his contact hitting against righties is good, but pretty much everything else is pretty mid. He has a lot of arbitration leeway, so I think we'll just offer him arbitration again, just because might as well. William Chung, I think, has still, 3 years of arbitration, so we'll do that as well for him. Let's see. Anybody else I want to actually offer contracts to? Eric Yamamoto probably should get an actual contract because he's a pending free agent. Anything over 2 years, he's asking for $10.9 million a season. No. Yeah, he's trying to get paid a ton of money. I might honestly have to just offer him arbitration for 1 year, so let's do that. Vincent Tan and Philip Chung are going to be super expensive, and both of them are closing in on free agent status. Vincent Tan still actually has a number of years more, so that's not that bad. Let's see. Maybe I will do Vincent Tan on a 3-year deal. He wants 3.3 a season, which is really not that bad when you think about it. I'll just go all the way down here a little bit. I wish this scrolling thing went faster. And then we got to go down to dance, and boom. And then just get this down to 3.3 a season. Yeah, Vincent Tan on 3 years on 3.3. I think that would just give a good little test for him to see if he's actually ready to take that next step yet. So we'll do 10.3, so that's going to be 3.4 a season. That's okay. And Philip Chung is very close to testing free agency. He hasn't been the most elite kind of like closer / setup guy. I don't really know if he's going to be worth a ton of money. 13.7 a season for anything over a year. We honestly should probably have to qualify him. He's going to be, he's probably going to be testing free agency soon if we can't afford him, which kind of sucks. But those guys are all pretty expensive, and you can kind of see why we needed the cap space available just in case. Because based on this, we only have $20 million left in cap space already after those offers that we just threw out. Eric Yamashita offered good. David Nahn, stuff like that. I don't think these guys need to come back, to be honest. They would be good options to have in the minor leagues, but I think they're going to be too expensive to have in like AAA. So I'm probably going to let Nah go for now. We could always bring some of these guys back at the start of the year if they're still in free agency or if we have cap space after I sign people. But yeah, we'll leave David Nah there for now. Michael Wong is a second baseman. How much is he asking for? 2.5 a year. Wow. Okay, well, we might have to let go of him too. Robert Matsui, pretty much the same type of thing, I would assume. Yeah, 2.3 a year. Walter Cho's offered. Yeah, I think I'll probably, if I could offer them arbitration at least, but that's still like 1360. Like, it adds up. Like, if we'd offered all those guys arbitration, we're looking at 2.5. What about you? Yeah, we're probably looking at like $4 million on some of those guys that we don't even need in our major league teams. So I think it's probably for the best that we don't bring them back just in case, and then we wait and see if they're still there. And we need to know about like Theodore Lee accepting his major contract. If Vincent Tan will accept his contract. Those are like the big ones too. So I think we'll wait on that. And then we have our tendered contracts, which we have to qualify a lot of guys. And this could get pricey as well. So is there anybody that doesn't matter too much? I guess some of these lower end guys that were replacing people. But yeah, I'm going to run through this, guys. And I will see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so all the contracts have been offered out here, which means now we have 43 million in pending offers already, and we only have a budget of 45, so we don't really have a lot of money to work with in terms of bringing all these guys back. So if we obviously lose out on bringing Sato back, that would free up a lot of cap space, but obviously he's still our #1 priority in bringing him back with the money we have. So I think we are ready to advance. We got the 40-man stuff settled. We got the arbitration offered to everybody except for, I guess, the 2 guys that we're waiting on offers for. Yeah, I think we're good to advance like at least a day just to see if like guys like Theodore Lee will accept a contract already. So it looks like some free agents are signing already on other teams. I got to take a look and make sure nobody's in on Sato at the moment. Okay, nobody's still in on Sato. That's good. We might be able to easily get him back. Hopefully no team just jumps in out of nowhere and steals him, because that would suck a lot. Still waiting on Vincent Tan to accept his offer that we offered him. And same with Theodore Lee. If need be, we'll take them to arbitration. But obviously, gotta wait and see if they'll accept those contracts first. Let's see. Did they accept yet? No, they have not. Man, this is always intense. I could always offer them arbitration and then negotiate with them beforehand, just so I don't end up losing them, for sure. I'm kind of worried about losing them, but they should be good in terms of interest and all that. They should be. And looks like we got a lot of those tendered contracts already done with, which is good. These guys are the last 3 players to sign. And then we are good with the contracts. The free agency, let's take a look at Mr. Sato. He is good still so far. Nobody's interested. We might be able to just barely hold on to this team. Still waiting on those guys again. Free agents, let's double check again on Sato. Still has interest in us, so he should be still good. Let's go another day. Brito is not wanting to join us, that pitching coach again. So once again, we have to find ourselves an actual pitching coach. I am really surprised that these pitching coaches are going to other teams over us. They maybe just know how bad our pitching is when it gets to the postseason or something. But we need to go to coach contracts and pitching. Is there any good pitch ones? -1. I don't want anybody with a minus if possible, which almost seems impossible now at this stage because all those good coaches left us. We don't want anybody that would make a huge negative in our pitching. Oof, the velocity -3. Oh my goodness, most of these pitching coaches are not very good. We have to probably go for the best available at this stage, which might have a minus regardless. Let's go to the top of this list here. There's some that some teams actually have interest in that they're offering to. We could go for Tom Jang. He has no negatives, and there's a lot of teams interested in him. Let's throw our name into the hat for him. Let's do 4.2 a season. He has full interest in us, so we should be able to win that one. Let's go back to the free agent department. See our stuff with Sato. He's still looking good. Still waiting on these contracts for Tan and Lee. Everybody else is going to arbitration pretty much, so. Yeah. Except for a couple other guys. Like, we're going to be losing Wong, Matsui, and all that, but I think we might be able to see them in a few free agency pools. Actually, if like we have the money after we sign these guys, maybe I'll bring some of them back, but I don't think they're necessary, so. Still waiting on those guys. Did we get any accepts yet from Sato? Because I am really worried about this, even though he's no other teams interested in him at the moment. Because obviously we had a little bit of a scare a few years ago with Yokoyama when he was in the free agent pool. But we managed to hold on to him. Let's go back to here again. I'm checking every single day to see if he accepts or not, which he has not yet. Come on. Please just accept, man. Tom Jang has joined as our pitching coach. That's fantastic. I will be very happy with that pitching coach. Still waiting on interest stuff from our guys. I don't know how long it takes before those guys actually accept offers and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I've been waiting a while at this point. Must be near the end of this week or something. Let's take a look at Sato again. He's still there. No other teams interested, which is good. Still waiting on Lee and Tan. Okay, looks like Tan has accepted because Tan just went off that list. So Vincent Tan is back on a 3-year deal, which walks him right to free agency potentially, but it does solidify our pitching rotation exactly for the next 3 years. Also, Walter Jung being done in 3 years too, we could at least free up some cap space, and then maybe Vincent Tan comes back as that guy instead, and then we have Irabu still and all that. So I'd like that. That's a really nice little deal there. We still have all these other guys that are waiting on. Theodore Lee's probably the most important of the bunch, I'd say. Yeah, probably. Okay, so did we get any interest or interesting news on Sato? No, he's still waiting. He's probably just waiting to see if any other teams jump in or not, which hopefully none of them do. Like I said, we want him back. He's one of our better players. He's still waiting. Contract, it says offered, so now he's not even a qualifying offer because, oh, it's this week of free agency starting that he's actually a free agent. So we'll see if any teams actually put their name in the hat for him. I'm kind of scared about that. Looks like we got the other accept on our qualifying offers. I think Theodore Lee might be back. Yes, he is. So a nice little 5 by 4.1, and then he walks to free agency, which isn't really that bad. We'll see what he's made of these 5 years, and then we could debate if we want to hold on to him then. We might not even be going 5 more years too, so depends on really if this team wins the World Series before then or not. Alright, so all we're waiting on, most importantly, because everybody else has their arbitration offered, is Kevin Sato. We want him to accept. That would be huge if he wants to come back to this team. He knows it too, I think, so that's why he's trying to get more money. Anybody join in on the conversation? No. So far, everybody else is interested in Anthony Wolf, so it's good that there's another good named third baseman there, because if Anthony Wolf wasn't there, people would probably be looking more at Sato, so I don't know if that's why Sato's taking his time to make a decision or what, but hopefully he accepts here relatively soon, because we need him back. We need him back. No other team interested still. That's probably why he's holding out. He's just waiting until there's more teams interested in him first, so then he can maybe get a higher offer. Still only the one interested in him. I don't know how long it takes before he'll say that he actually accepts. No, I do not want to stop simulating. Okay, that's fine. Let's see, Sato's still there. He's one of the top free agents right now, but he has no other teams interested in him, which is kind of a surprise. I don't know if it's because of his age or what, but actually he's the same age as Wolf too, so, or actually maybe a bit older, I don't know. Any of those other contracts done with? No, the arbitration stuff. Okay. So we're literally just waiting on the news. So Anthony Wolf signs with the Rangers, so he's off the list now as the top third baseman. Kevin Sato is still there, and he has not accepted our offer yet. So that is very not good, because there's going to be other teams probably into him now, right? Nope, still not. Okay. We might be lucky here. We might be lucky and be able to get him back. We're the only team interested in him at this point in time. Hopefully he accepts here soon, because it's been a long little negotiation process with him so far. Okay, I had to change my batteries just because as you saw on the bottom, it said my batteries are almost dead. Anyways, let's keep on advancing. Hopefully no other team jumps in on the Sato sweepstakes, as I'll call it. Come on, Kevin. Please just accept our contract. He's taking his very sweet-ass time. I know he thinks that there's going to be other teams wanting him, but maybe not at that price point. No, I do not want to stop simulating. So those guys that are not getting our arbitration should jump to the free agency pool here shortly too. We need an answer, Kevin. We need an answer. If you accept our contract, we'll know how much money we have left pretty much. There you go. So now we just know these guys are offered arbitration. Everybody else wasn't. So these guys will be all coming back to the team likely. And we just got to wait on Sato, who's still the best named free agent, but has no interest from any teams. Other players are getting interest, like these relievers, like Isaiah Cope and all that. But So far, I am actually kind of surprised that Kevin Sato has no interest from another team. Hopefully nobody sweeps in out of nowhere. He probably thinks we lowballed him in a way, but I don't think we lowballed him really that much. I really hope he accepts, please, man. You're our best player. Well, maybe not our best player, but one of our best players for sure. And this is a nice little cheap contract, I'd say. Still nobody interested in him other than us. He is very much hoping another team comes in out of nowhere. He's no longer interested in our offer. Oh, no. Oh, no, he left. Where did they come from? They had no interest in any other team. He did not like our offer. He accepts a $15.7 million a year contract with the Baltimore Orioles. So Kevin Sato has left the team, which is not exactly what I was hoping for. That sucks a lot. That's a 4-year deal, so that might be the rest of his career in a nutshell. Wow, that blows. There was literally no other teams interested in him, and then they're like, oh yeah, we are actually interested in him. I wonder if Hideki Takahashi's still in free agency, because Nomo will now be moved to third base for the upcoming season, that's for sure. Is Hideki Takahashi still in free agency? He is not. He must have went somewhere too. Oh boy, we do have the money now at least to kind of use on other positions, but yeah, that really blows. I don't even know if there's anybody I could bring in that used to play for us that's in the free agent market. Because now we do not really have the best... Like, we have at least a good starting catcher, but we don't have a good backup catcher because Nomo will be moving, like I said, to third base. Does any of these other guys probably play catcher? Probably not. I doubt there's anybody else on a roster that actually plays catcher. First base for Iwamura. Oh, man, this is not a good spot to be in at this stage. That kind of really sucks, man. I thought we literally had him locked up because nobody else was interested, and then Baltimore just came out of nowhere with an offer, as I kind of was expecting a team to do that. Well, I don't think we're going to be able to find any replacements unless there's a former guy in free agency, which I don't think there's going to be at the catcher position. Trying to see if there's anybody that was with us at any point. Any names I recognize. Connor Wong's not ours, but he's an Asian-ish. But it just, we're not going to re-sign actually any free agents because that's not what we're doing in this series. But yeah, we're going to have to run with what we have. We're going to have to run with what we have. We could always change somebody on our team that has good, like, catcher-related attributes and make them a catcher. Like any good fielding numbers, maybe we can make them into a catcher. Like, I don't know if there's anybody that's a good fielder that could be a catcher too, but we might have to just run with the one catcher. Well, that sucks a lot. We at least have arbitration stuff, and like I said, that does free us up a lot of cap space potentially for next season and all that. So in the long run, that might actually help us, but obviously it's a big loss, I'd say, going into the regular season. So let's simulate to free agency 4 and get through the rest of this offseason as fast as possible now. No, thank you. I'm going to see if there's any former guys in free agency again here. David Naw is now in the free agent market, and there's a lot of teams actually interested in bringing him in on a nice cheap deal. I could honestly bring him back. Do I need him back? Maybe. Oh, wow. We actually have quite a big drop-off after Kenny Rabbit. We do not have a lot of starting pitchers, so you know what? We actually will throw our name in the hat back to bring in David Naw again. Just so I could get him potentially back as a depth option. So let's do 1.8. And then Robert Matsui does actually have an interest from a team as well, which is kind of surprising. And that's where the other Matsui is, because I think there's a Matsui in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. Our other guys are back in free agency too. We could bring back Michael Wong too, who does also play third base. Yeah, you know what? We'll throw an offer also back for Michael Wong too. Try and get these guys that we just basically let go, but now we actually want them just because we actually have the money. I think that's the only ones I would bring back just to give us a little bit more depth in case, because obviously if we have any injury troubles this season, that could throw us completely off. And we do not want that, of course. Alright, so we should find out about our guys here soon. We're not doing any trade offers, but let's just look at this for fun. So we were getting offered Teddy Castaneda, who is just a pitcher prospect for Russell Lim, who's our prospect. No, thank you. It's kind of funny. Always kind of fun and look at those offers just to see if they actually make sense or not. Alright, so did we get David Nonsuch back? We did get David Naw back. Okay, so he did rejoin the Tropic Turtles on 1.8. And we did not get Michael Wong. Actually, no, we did get Michael Wong back. Good. So we got both of our guys back that we literally let go of. So I'll definitely take that. And we technically still have a lot of cap space, which is also really good. Does really suck to lose Sato, though. Like, does Baltimore even need somebody like Sato? And did they actually bring in somebody that actually fits their roster? I'm curious on that. Baltimore. Okay, I guess it makes sense. They did have a weakness on third base. But Sato there is very strange. I will not get over this. Got to take a screenshot of this. Maybe I'll ask Nick if he wants to see a spoiler early or not, but I don't know. Oh, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. I forget how much we were offering him a season, probably way less than that, but I don't know if it would have been worth that type of money. $14 million a season? Bit expensive. Okay, Rule 5 draft. Do we even have any stuff? Actually, it's first the draft lottery. We obviously do not have a pick in the draft lottery, but let's see who ends up winning the draft lottery for 2036. And we're obviously going to be still pretty far back in a draft again. So I'm really hoping that obviously this year we still have a good draft like we did last year. But obviously it's going to be up in the air. We're still drafting 26th in the entire league. But the Braves end up winning the draft lottery. Then it's the Pirates, the Reds, the Nationals, and the Royals rounding out the top 5. Okay. So now we should have the Rule 5. I don't know if we have any space on our roster to even take anybody. We do have 39 because of Sato leaving, I think. So we can't take somebody in this Rule 5 if there's anybody interesting. Hopefully none of our players leave the team, which so far doesn't look like the case. Is there anybody interesting that I could take? Ronald Acuna Jr. is still playing, and he's on there at 39 years old. Damn, that's actually kind of hilarious. Okay, so the ideal thing we'd need is probably a catcher. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a catcher that we could use as a number 2 guy. But first and foremost, let's see what we got in the starting pitcher department. Sorry, I had to make a giant cut because these damn lawnmowers keep going out every single Monday, and it's friggin' annoying as shit. Let's see. What do we got? Any Asians in terms of pitchers that we could potentially use? So far, not so much. And looks like there's not going to be one. Okay. Relief pitchers. We don't really need relievers, but let's just check this anyways. Obviously, Pete Quo is there from our team. Is there anybody else? A lot of the time, it seems like there's barely anybody except for people that are on our team. Like, these two guys are already on our team. Hey, look, Louise is there. Obviously, we can't take him, but still, shout to Louise. Any other Asian players? There's Hiroyuki Yamada, which is ours as well. David Yamamoto is not ours. Huh, that's an interesting one. Okay, he's not ours. I don't know what team he's on, but that would give us another Yamamoto, because I think we already have 2 of them at least. So he's a reliever. We don't really need relievers that much, but David Yamamoto could be a guy we take in case. But we already have so much relief pitchers that it's not really worth it, I don't think. And that would literally be our 3rd Yamamoto on the roster, I think. Tommy Lim, is he ours? Yeah, I think he is, right? No, he's not. This guy's not ours, too. So there's a couple of relievers, but once again, relief pitcher's not an area I need really that badly. And they'd have to be on our MLB team, too, so... Yeah, I'm not going to take any of those guys, I don't think. No closers, which kind of sucks because we don't really actually have any other closers at the moment. So, yeah, no closers. Catcher, is there anybody that could be the number 2 catcher behind Yamazaki if we move Nomo to third base? The other option would be moving, what is it? Who is it? Yokoyama, jeez. Yokoyama to third base, but Jeff Ishii is ours. Is there anybody else? No. Dave Underzoo and Stephen Hubbard. Or Stephen Hubbard was on our team. Yeah, he was. Huh, I'm really surprised he got a contract from a different team. First base, any options that used to play for us or somebody that's Asian? Stephen Ma. We don't really need first base that badly. So Stephen Ma I wouldn't take probably. Second base, nobody there. Third base, Koji Zars. There's usually always a lack of Asians in these Rule 5s for some weird reason. Shortstop. So at shortstop, there doesn't seem to be really anything. Yep, nobody so far. Left field and outfield. We could use more outfielders always, but I don't know if there's going to be anybody useful to take. Nobody at left field. Center field, there is nobody as well. And in right fielding, there's John Cato as a 71 right fielder who has not played in the majors. We don't really need another right fielder. We do have actually a good amount of them. Brian Shin is our own. He would be an upgrade from Brian Shin, potentially, but he is older too. Sal Chen is ours. There's Ronald Acuna again. Yeah, there's nobody. There's nobody I would probably take in this. There is some relievers, but we already have like an abundance of relievers on our roster. Like, look at all these relievers. It's just pointless for us to bring in 2 more relievers. So we are going to not take anybody in the Rule 5 this year. I think we're good with not taking anybody. As a couple other people go in the second round. And that is going to be it. That is it for the Rule 5 draft. Now we just got to wait on our arbitration negotiations. And then we are almost ready to get to the next season already, which is awesome. We could skip through that because I don't care about those trades. All right. So how much are these guys going to cost us? Eric Yamamoto is going to cost us 3.826. So that's pretty pricey, but that's okay. Philip Chung is going to cost us 4.718. See, that's why we needed some cap space for some of these guys. Eric Yamashita 2.868. Walter Cho is getting 1.149. That's not really that bad. Okan 1872, not bad. And that is it, I think. Actually, Raymond Park still 1030. And William Chung's getting 1200, which is not bad either. All right. How much cap space do we got now? We got actually, yeah, we actually do have budget. So actually, I think that move about letting go of Sato might have made more sense. Because obviously the big guy that's going to be ending next, we have actually a bunch of guys that are ending in the next year or so. Leonard Sato, Tom Koo, Parker Iwamura, Tom Lee, Philip Chung again. Like, a lot of guys are going to be free agents right around the same time. So this might be one of our last chances at a World Series this year, potentially. All right. No. And we're at spring training. We probably already have a roster set in stone. You know what? I'll let the AI decide stuff at the start of the season on who should be where. Yeah, I think that's probably it. I think a lot of the guys that we want actually on our MLB roster will be on our MLB roster. I don't know who will send down. I'll probably send some of these lower end talent guys down, but we'll keep it like that. Let's simulate to the regular season already. And see what we got to set up our roster. Because we want to make sure this is nice and set up for next season already. Let's see. So in terms of the MLB, let me just take a look at what they got for our team. So Iwamura, Nguyen, Yamazaki, Jung, anybody that should not be, that's not there. A lot of guys got put through waivers. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, Robert Yabu, Austin Choi, Philip Nishi being on waivers, all those guys are not very good. So that makes chance a good opportunity for them. They probably won't get claimed. They could get claimed. Richard Chen could be in the MLB almost already. He is a third baseman. He could take right over for Sato. He won't be very good, though, is the only thing. And does have 3 of 3 options already used, so I guess he might have to stay up here, to be honest. He could end up being that third baseman instead. But let's go to our pitching rotation. So we obviously want Iwamura, Nguyen. We want Kazuhiro Hayashi. Obviously, he was fantastic last season. Jung is going to go back over to long reliever, which means we're going to have Vincent Tan as the 4 guy, and Kenny Rabu will once again be the number 5 guy. Actually, that's pretty good stamina for mid reliever. Yeah, I think we'll put Vincent Chang as a long reliever because he's got actually pretty solid stamina. 24, 19, 22. Yeah, that's fine there. Philip Chung is a setup guy, though. I don't know about that. I mean, I could leave him there for the time being, but it should be actually... Leonard Sato needs to be a long reliever for sure. So let's go something like that instead. And then we actually should move... We could go with you as a long reliever too, I guess. And then Chung... Yeah, that might be okay. Who has the lowest stamina? Tommy Wong. We'll go with Tommy Wong as a setup guy because he's got the lower stamina out of everybody else. Okay, that looks good in terms of the rotation. And then in terms of double and triple A, obviously we need to address this. And we need also to look at the draft class ahead of us as well. So this might be a little bit of a long episode. There is going to be a lot of cuts, though, because of damn lawnmowers. But anybody that could also be a starter here. Let's make sure our starters are in over our relief pitchers. Okay, we need to get two guys in as starters. So we'll go with Akio again, I think, based on his stamina. Michael Yamamoto has also some solid stamina. Trying to see who else has good stamina. Nobody really else. Okay. Well, with Yamamoto there too. And then we will move William Fong there. Vincent Wong there. Hiroyuki Yamada will move to miss. And that's good. Okay. Triple A. Let's just make sure there's no relievers in as stars. There is one. We will just go like this for the time being. And then Walter Cho. And no starting pitchers there. We'll get Walter Cho as the closer. Actually, who has got the lowest stamina on this? Maybe we'll go with Walter Lee as the closer instead. There we go. I don't really care too much. We need to start putting in a starting pitcher, though. Who's got really good stamina out of these guys? Philly V. Rabo, he's got 32. He might be the best bet. Move Rabo to the other starting pitcher spot. Okay, that's good. In terms of our batting order in the MLB, Yokoyama at second base, Theodore Lee at first base, Yamazaki is the catcher, Tom Lee is a left fielder, Vincent Seo as a DH is not what I want, but it might work. It might work. Definitely want Nomo in, though, as the third base. He's actually not very good against righties in terms of contact, but very good in power. So maybe we actually want him in there. Vincent Seo should not be playing third base, so we could still get Richard Chen in against there. Yeah, Richard Chen can play third base, maybe. And then Seo, I do really like Seo's play. He'd be in instead of Walter Choi. And then these guys would be bench. I do like William Chung kind of too, though. Trying to think of what we want to do here. Oh, man. Let's try and reorganize this order a little bit here. So, wow. Yokoyama is an 85. I felt like he was higher overall last season, but I could be wrong. We'll go Tom Lee in this spot. We'll get Nomo into the top 4 for the time being. We get Vincent Seo up here as well, because he was actually pretty good last season. There we go. Let's go with something like that. Sure. For the time being, that's not that bad, I guess. Yeah, it really does suck to lose Sato a good amount, just because he was a good filler player on this team, too. So we will go Nomo to third base instead of Taguchi. And yeah, he won't be DH, I guess, in this part of it. But that's okay. We'll go with something along these lines. Actually, yeah, we'll go with something like that. Theodore Lee up here. I think this is not bad. Actually, we should get Walter Choi out versus Saki. So we'll do that. So we'll just substitute these guys' positions a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Looks decent. And then we need to make sure double and triple A is set up, and then we could actually simulate and see what the draft class is looking like. Apologize that these episodes end up so long. So we need a left fielder, which we do have Peter Nakamura as a left fielder, so we'll just throw him in for the time being. We could actually readjust this in the next episode if need be. And then we also need a, what? A DH, I guess. So the DH, I guess we can make it one of the better players. Brian Hugh, good contact. And let's just do Hugh for the time being. I don't really care too much on who's in the lineup at the moment. We can always address this if need be. Oh, Jason Yamashita as a DH would be not a bad option, but he's obviously going to be one of the better players on this roster. Oh, man. This is so much roster work. Let's go with that. And then we just need... Actually, let's substitute this and this. Darren Hoffman will get taken out for Nakamura. And then we'll put in Brian Hugh again for now as the DH. I don't really care. Because at this point, we are trying to win in the MLB team more than triple and double, of course. Obviously, we still want our prospects to develop, but... Oh, Stanley Oka's down there. What the heck? That's somebody who should be in the majors after last season. Okay, so that's something that needs to change for sure. At least I recognize that now. Let's just get this all set up here. There you go. No, not you. Man, we have way too much players in this damn league. Or in both leagues, I should say. We'll go Jungwoo on, and then we just need the center fielder, which... we will go with Brian Shin. Yeah, we definitely need to call up Oka. I don't know why Oka got sent down, of all people, but not going to question what AI thinks in terms of that. We will get Oka out here for Shin, sure. Jungwoo on as well, come back in. And then we also need, yeah, that should work. Okay, so we need to call up Oka. So who am I going to send down for Oka? So, technically, the worst player on our MLB team is Richard Chen. But he would go through waivers if we are to do that. There's also Michael Wong, who does not have any minor league options. Walter Choi does not have any minor league options. William Chung doesn't. Mark Taguchi doesn't. Do I put Richard Chen through waivers? I'm going to give him a chance for the beginning of the season. If he's not good, we will call up Oka. That's going to be the play. Because Oka is a shortstop. He technically could go him up for William A. Bayek. That's not a bad idea. I didn't really like A. Bayek's play last year. So you know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to send A. Bayek down instead because he does have minor league options. We'll get him to learn a little bit more. And we'll get Stanley back up here. And that will be a little bit better. So now we can actually go like this and put Oka in that shortstop spot. I just really like Oka a lot better, I think, than A. Bayek at the moment. And A. Bayek could go in here as the shortstop. And actually, Dusty Kim should be probably in that spot. So we'll change Dusty Kim over to third base for the time being. And we'll take Yamazaki out for A. Bayek. Yeah, I think that's what we'll run with. Sure. Perfect. Okay, so that's all set up and ready to go. I think we're ready to actually simulate a little bit. Our rankings, you can see we're first in rank, but we're 15th in contact, so our contact fell off a little bit again. We're 6th in power since we lost Sato, so that's not great. We're still number 1 in pitching. Defense is still not great. Speed has definitely improved, though, so that's good. All right. Now we can actually start simulating a little bit. We got to go through a good chunk of games here to start, not to start this episode, to end this episode pretty much. So that way we can actually take a look at the draft class. So we got 4 games against Toronto. Let's see how we do in these 4 games. And Robert Yabo has already been injured, but he's not MLB. We are 2-2 in our first 4 games. It might be better that we don't do super well when we make the playoffs. Like if we get in as a wildcard team, it might be better, but not the best start to the season for us. Houston is 4-0 to start the season. Hopefully that means they're not going to do that good this year in the postseason. 2 games against Boston. We win both those ones, so that's a nice little response from our team. And we do have 1 more against Boston, and we swept them. We're now 5-2. So we are still off to a good start despite losing Sato. We do have 2 more games left of this episode, and we win and lose 1. So 6-3 in our first 9 games of the season. That's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Let's go to scouting and take a look at this draft class and see what they have for us in terms of Asian talent. We do still have the exact same scouts again, so it's good that none of them are retired. We are drafting 26, 39, 63, 101, 131, 161, and 191. Having 63 is actually kind of nice because that is my favorite number, so hopefully we can get a good pick at that second round. But what do we got for Asian talent? Is there anybody here? Theodore Bayek. Or Bake. Yeah, this guy's Asian for sure, and he's supposed to go pretty high up. He is a first baseman. I don't know if we'll be able to grab him, but he's definitely some guy to scout out for sure in next episode, because he could end up being pretty good. Anybody else? So that's one player already. Do we have anybody else that wants to make their name known to us? Patrick Rock. That's actually hilarious. Oh man, makes me think of friggin' SpongeBob. He's Patrick Star living in a rock, you know. Jeez. I feel like some guy just named him that because of that. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. He's from Alabama too, so he's kind of weird. Goddamn. Okay, well that's a funny name to near the end of this episode. What do we got in terms of other Asians though? What do we got? Luther Chang. It's the first time I've seen a guy named Luther. But there's definitely a guy we could take. A left fielder. We do need left fielders or outfielders. He is looking like a pretty decent one. Could have a very solid starting overall. Maybe no potential, but he's worth scouting out for sure. So there's two. Do we have any more? Still doesn't seem like a lot of them, of course, but what do we got? There's got to be more than just two of them, right? This might be one of the worst draft classes, it looks like, in terms of Asian talent here so far. David Chu, shortstop. We could use more shortstop depth, potentially. I'm okay with that, so there's another guy to scout out for sure. 3. Are we going to all of a sudden just get a bunch of them all at once, or what? Come on, give me some more names. Nelson Hong. Nelson Hong's kind of intriguing. His overall is the same as his potential range, so I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but this guy could be crazy good. He could also be pretty bad. He's supposed to go around 119th at the moment. What else we got here? That's 4 so far. Still seems a bit of a lack of Asian talents in this draft class, but as a lot of these guys might not make it before the series ends. Robert Ishii is a reliever, because the series is probably closer to the end and it's closer to the beginning, you know. Because we might start to drop off here relatively soon, or we win a World Series and then the series ends. Alan Morai is a third baseman. We could always use third base help, of course, after losing Sato, so that could be an option. There's another Taguchi, Henry Taguchi, who's the catcher. We could use more catchers as well after losing Takahashi, so that might be okay. What sucks is I could technically have had Takahashi still on our roster if I would have re-signed him, but I didn't know if we were going to have the cap space, so might be a lost cause there. Anybody else? Everybody else is not supposed to get drafted, so there might be some people in the back of this, but they are guys that we're probably going to find in next episode instead. So there's that. Final 3 things, I do want to take a look at how good our players have been playing in these first 9 games. Parker's off to a great start again. Really good to see. Stan is off to a good start. Kaz is off to a good start. Not as good as last year, of course, because he's already lost a game, but still. Vincent Tan off to a bit of a bad start. And Kenny Rabu's off to a good start. All right, that's not too bad. So far, pitching rotation looking pretty good. Bullpen is so far looking really good too. So we actually might be pitching really well this season so far. And then in terms of our batting order so far, Yamazaki off to a bit of a slow start in terms of average. And it looks like our offense isn't doing that well at the moment. But that's okay. We're still early in the year, so it's not going to matter too much. We've already scored 31 runs in 9 games, which is, yeah, it's kind of average, I would say. But we are currently the best pitching team out of the people in the AL West at the moment, only giving up 15 runs in our first 9 games. So who knows, maybe we're going to be a better defensive team come the playoffs. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will continue assimilating more of the season up until a little bit before the draft. We'll scout out the draft class and see if there's any prospects worth taking. But I like our way our team started so far this season. But I'm also kind of skeptical about how our season's going to go, just because losing Sato, I think, could end up being a pretty big factor because he was one of our most consistent players. But we'll see how we do without him, and hopefully we can make it back to the playoffs again this season. Say something down below, and I'll see you guys next time.